I'll call to order the Thursday, May 1st College Township Regular Council Meeting. Before we get into the agenda, I'm going to ask everyone who can stand, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item on tonight's agenda is public open discussion. This is an opportunity for anyone in the room. Do we have anybody online?
No, we do not have anyone on.
Anybody in the room or online who would like to address council on something that's not already on tonight's agenda? Okay, do we have anybody in the room? Oh, Sue.
Other than the person standing at the lectern? No.
Okay. Oh, Sue, all right.
Good evening. Sue Smith, Lamont Village Association. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that we have withdrawn a request about changing the black and white signs that are at the intersection of Pike and Elmwood, and those are black and white, and they're very, very visible. PennDOT put them up after the green signs came up.
Sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything that's not on tonight's agenda? And you say we don't have anybody online? Okay. You say we don't have anybody online? Okay.
No.
All right, then we will move into new agenda items. This is an opportunity for anybody here at the table to request something be added to tonight's agenda. That's good. I'm going to go with that. We can actually entertain a public request for something to be added to the agenda, should anybody in the room. Well, that's good too. I like that. That takes us then to which tonight we have one, which is another year has gone by because it's time for our CNET annual update.
I'm Bill Kaplan, and I'm going to start it. Cindy's the director. She'll give most of the presentation. I'm just going to give the highlights on.
Oh, if that's like, I can,
Maybe she,
I'll click through. Oh,
okay.
And for the record,
So yeah, I've been serving for a little over a year. Yeah, a little over a year as College Township's representative to CNET. I'll just go over the highlights here. From last year. So over 500 programs, 527 programs were produced by CNET in last year, 24. Membership increased with the addition of CATA last year, 17 members, and closed captioning incentive began last year in February, and there's closed captioning for $17 per hour, very reasonable, and there's 14 of the 17 members are currently using the closed captions. College Township being one of those 14. That's kind of the highlights I want to present, and I'll turn it over to Cindy to go through the rest of the slides here.
Thank you. Okay, hello, good evening. You all are very fortunate. I had power resources. I was able to shower before coming tonight, so consider yourselves lucky. College Township's programming last year, 23 council meetings, 21 planning commission meetings, and an additional 2, which were your joint, is a total of 46 programs. There were 59 bulletin board messages. In addition, most of those are agendas for the meetings, additional 5.9 programs. If you do the math and add that all together, it's a grand total of 51.9. This is a 9.9, almost 10% of all of the programming by all of our members in 2024. Very close, well, it's up slightly from 2023, which was 9.2%, but still quite consistent from year to year. The graph shows you the last 5 years, 2020 through 2024, how the programming has gone up or down, Now, over those past 5 years, you're sponsoring just about 9.6% of all of our programming by all of our members, which was 9.2 in the previous 5 years. So that's important because our funding formula is based on a 5-year rolling average. So 2020 through 24, but we have purchased additional storage so that we're going to work up to having 18 months of programs remain online. All of the online programming is indexed by agenda item and YouTube channel is very active. We stream on YouTube really almost all of the our member news, college board, the commissioners, and a lot of school district sporting events and graduation. Also, you can watch us on Roku, Apple TV, how to watch us on those platforms. So this is your online programming data. Remember that we're never able to give you television viewing data from Comcast, but in the 14-month period between January of 24 to March of 25, the council meetings saw an average of 50.5 views on CNET 1, and an additional is a municipal election year. We consider this a very important part of our mission. We issue invitations to all candidates on the ballot for federal, state, and county offices, as well as mayors, boards, and councils of CNET member municipalities and school districts. Use local journalists to conduct the interviews. Ann Danahy with WPSU and Jeff Rushton with statecollege.com volunteer their time for us. And of course, we televise them on the cable channels, and they're available on cnet1.org. I did want to mention, because people are curious, the franchise with Chantel, I believe is probably about 2 years from signing. I don't know if they have requested any construction permits within the borough, product in the borough. And so we are not seeing, I have not seen any advertisement to customers, but you know, it won't be long before Chantel will probably be active. CNET receives a capital grant each year from Chantel, that is based upon population, and so the CNET is $3,000. That is structured a little differently from the Comcast capital grant. Once Chantel is up and running and presumably has customers, it will be structured the same way. There will be a pay fee from them. So I think that's all we have.
Questions for Cindy? Comments? Compliments? All welcome, right?
Yeah, I can't give too many compliments, right? Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sure.
Susan, Rich? Questions?
Thank you. And I really appreciate the recordings of the planning mission and some of the council. I appreciate that they're chaptered, they're indexed, that I can find what I need to look back at. And I often do go back months at a time because sometimes something's been in discussions for
Yeah.
months and months. So you make it really easy to find that. That's the easiest way to find the information. So thank you.
That's true.
And Mr. Kaplan, thank you for your service too. Yeah, no, it's a great service, and I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate the candidate interviews, having had one or two, but also being able to look at the candidates that might be coming onto council and seeing the interviews. They're very thoughtful. So thank you.
Rich?
Absolutely. All of that. To go on record, I'm hoping we're not going to do more meetings to get to number 3.
Well, it's a good thing we don't pay by the hour, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and just a reminder, we get our money's worth with COG pretty well, too. That I took away, it was a little down. PC has higher average views. Matt, I think it's your jokes. It's keeping us up or down. I can't figure it out. But yeah, the chaptered is wonderful. It's just what a tool. I've used it on so many different levels that it's just available to us. So thank you.
I do have one last comment.
Oh, no?
I want to thank your crews. I want to thank the crews who patiently sit through the meetings with us and are always very professional and do a great job. So we
Yes.
appreciate them too.
Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to ask one question, Cindy, and that had to do with the closed captioning. How's that going? How well has it been received?
Boy, I'll tell you, when closed captioning became available to us, at the time that we would probably have, 3 or 4 of the larger members interested. I never thought we would have 14 of the 17. So everyone, $17 an hour is an irresistible charge to caption them. So it's going very well. That is done by AI. So it really is very little of our staff time, which is how it can be so inexpensive.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah.
Great, good
Yeah.
news.
They've said it all. I want to throw one more thing on top, on the compliment pile. In addition to all of that, the turnaround. You've really spoiled us. I mean, we're talking sometimes like 48 hours
Yeah.
or less, access, chaptered meetings, pretty impressive.
Yeah. We have a small but mighty crew of people that, so that is a true team effort. So thank you. I will tell them that you said that. Yes.
So one last thing, how do you determine who covers College Township?
Short straws.
Short straw?
It's always Nick. It's always Nick.
Yes. No, not at all. No.
So
I think it depends on the chair.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Anything else, staff? Thanks again, Cindy. It's always a pleasure to have you here every year.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Bill.
much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, Cindy, well done.
Yep. Sure. You're true.
Oh, thanks, Cindy, very much.
All right, that was our only special presentation. We have one plan tonight, P1, Walmart Building Expansion Preliminary Final Land Development Plan. Now, this is a potential action item. Do we have any introduction by staff, or are we going right to our Walmart representative?
I do have a brief introduction.
Okay, and then we'll get to you.
All right, this is the, let me just get that, okay. This is a preliminary final land development plan for Walmart on the Benner Pike. The address is 373 Benner Pike, tax parcel 192B93. The zoning district is general commercial, and the proposal is to construct a 1,440 square foot expansion of the existing Walmart store. You see the aerial there on the screen. Next, you'll see that where they're taking the existing area that is set aside for online orders and deliveries, and they're moving it to the other side of Walmart, and that is where they're building the 3,400 square foot expansion. That's going to be between Walmart and Sam's Club, just behind the garden center area there. They're also, with this plan, restriping some of the parking lot to make the paint a little bit brighter, and they're not changing much, but they're just, improving what's there, fixing some stop signs and so forth. And let's see. And then here's another overview of that side and what they're going to do. And you can see how the parking sort of is shifting from the grocery side of Walmart over to the pharmacy side of Walmart. I believe there's a representative here from Dewberry Engineering who will be able to answer any questions that staff can't answer for you.
Okay.
Yes, hi, my name is Michael Myers from Dewberry Engineering, representing the Walmart project. I think the only one thing I would want to add to that great synopsis was that the original parking spaces that are currently being used for the online order pickup will be restriped to be no one's confused and going to that side. And then, yeah, like Lindsay had said, all these are going to be restriped and re-signed to be for the new proposed online order pickup area.
But before we open,
Overviewed what we discussed. They did make a recommendation that council approve this plan.
okay. Staff, anything else to add before we open up the council?
Just refresh my recollection, I believe that this actually was part of the overall review. But one of the things I know that we had been working on had to do with easement areas. Those have all now been identified, correct?
Yeah.
As part of this, this particular plan.
Yes, and that is a condition of approval that those easements are all identified on the property.
Great, thank you.
All right, Dustin, anything, questions for?
Yeah, and maybe it didn't jump out at me at the plan when I looked at it. So is the parking gonna stay the same amount of parking equivalent, or will that expand?
There'll be a larger number of online order pickup
Okay.
areas.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So existing, I believe there might be only something like 14 or something like that, but now there'll be, I think it's 45.
Oh, okay.
There'll be a significant increase.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. Susan?
No questions.
Rich?
Nope, very straightforward.
Yeah, appreciate the time. Just one quick question. The 5 spaces?
Correct.
From 14?
That's right here now.
And it seems like from a flow standpoint, that might be more, I don't know if you're involved in those, like, that might be a more efficient way to get goods out to folks?
Yes. So right now, I don't know if you could go back to more of the overview.
I mean, but there'll be less ped crossing in front of the store where it's really
Exactly.
busy. You're avoiding the congested areas.
Yes, so not only for ease of access, so, I mean, it's a lot easier to access that side of the store than it is the opposite side, but it also increases the safety of the employees that are utilizing it. So, yes, they're not getting in the way of customers, and they're not potentially having to cross the frontage road that is going to have cars along it.
That's what, the area they're serving is still a through traffic lane in the parking lot, so it just
Yeah.
does seem to make sense. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but
Yeah.
it's good planning. All right, if there are no further questions or comments from staff, there is a proposed motion in our packet tonight. The chair would certainly entertain that motion at this point.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Walmart number 2230 Building Expansion Preliminary Final Land Development Plan dated January 22nd, 2025, and last revised March 24th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. Number one, within 90 days from the date of approval by council, all conditions must be satisfied. Final signatures must be obtained and the plan must be recorded with the Center County Recorder of Deeds office. Failure to meet the 90-day record void. All outstanding review fees. Number three, address to the satisfaction of the township engineer any outstanding plan review comments. Number four, fully comply with College Township Code Section 180-12. Number five, post surety as approved by the Number six, work with College Township Water Authority to identify easement extents and elimination of trip hazards under Walmart jurisdiction. Number seven, work with College Township Zoning Officer to ensure signage is in compliance with Township Code. And number eight, all conditions must be accepted in writing within 7 days from the date of the conditional approval.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second. All right, as required, since we're potential action here, do we have anybody online?
We do have one person now, no
Okay.
hands up.
Let's go to the room first. Would anybody like to address council on the potential action here that's before us, which is the approval of the Walmart Land Development Plan, preliminary final? All right, can you tell if we have any hands raised online?
No hands raised.
Okay. Then with that, the chair will call the question. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries. Thank you. And one last question, anticipated construction completion project?
I'm not sure of that at
Okay.
the moment, sorry. But thank you very much.
All right, thank you. That was our only plan tonight. That takes us to reports. Managers update. There's a written update in our packet. It contains 3 or 4 updates from last month. Does the manager have anything to add?
The only thing I'd like to add is relative to the solar power purchasing agreement, just an expansion on a note that's here in your packet this evening. Mike and I have had to speak about in more length relative to an interim contract with the power provider to span the time until the solar power facility is actually up online and we engage in that contract. And so those conversations have been initiated and they will continue. In fact, I think that we may actually do a little bit better in this interim period in terms of pricing than what we have just most recently had relations. So we will see how that all plays out. But that was the only update, but if there are any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer.
Okay, Dustin, anything?
No questions.
Susan?
No questions.
Rich?
Done.
No, I guess,
The only thing I would add is I would like to give a shout out to earlier this week and the significant storms. While I think that College Township was generally spared, certainly the worst of the storm, our folks are great. They're able to respond. And I'll note, again, not to throw any stones, simply because it was a major event throughout the entire county. But the county 911 system did not necessarily, was not able to handle the volume of calls. And as a result, some of the initial notifications that came through were handled a little, what's the right word? Unorthodox. Unorthodox is the perfect word. But the bottom line is the messages got through, they were conveyed, and Amy and the crew responded, and very pleased with all of that. And it's something we should be proud of.
I just have a question to that. Yeah, so what's the proper thing to do, right, if I'm driving along and I do see a tree or something in the road from a storm like that? What is the best way to contact the township to ask that cleanup?
But the best thing to do is to call 911.
non-emergency.
Yeah, you can do the non-emergency 800.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically, our crews are usually end up being dispatched from 911.
Okay.
But because of the volume of calls from throughout the county, that particular part of the system was for a while.
So that's the 800 number for
That's the
this?
non-emergency.
Yeah.
But
That's
if
the
you
police station number.
No, that actually,
No.
there, at the 911 center, you have two numbers. You have 911, the typical, well-known emergency number. There's also a non-emergency number that is available. So, for example, we had trees come down on the bike path, okay, that were reported during or immediately after the storm. That in and of itself, because it's on the bike path, isn't necessarily an emergency, but it's something that people need to be aware of. That would be a perfect example of when to utilize that non-emergency number for that type of a thing. On the other hand, you have a tree across the travel lane or down wires or some other kind of situation, that's a 911 call.
Okay. Thank you.
Susan, Rich?
Question.
I was going to bring this up under other matters, but since you did, I'll just cite an example. I mean, I was leaving my house an hour after the storm ended, and there was a tree down, big tree across my street.
Text messages from the State College Borough Police Department. Normally, unless the chief has something urgent to convey to me. But I was convincing with one of the sergeants that was on duty and on patrol. So we got it done. It all worked.
Regional county and liaison reports. By my record, we had 3 COG regional committees meet. I think they were at least scheduled to meet. Did Parks and Rec Governance meet?
We did. Very efficient 1-hour meeting. We reviewed the first draft of a memorandum of understanding between the Center Region Parks Authority, Center Region Parks Agency, COG, and all the municipalities of the COG to guide the relationship between the authority and all the stakeholders. Gave a bunch of feedback. It's coming back to us at our May meeting, and then we'll push it out to the authority and the municipal managers for review.
Questions for Rich? Dustin, did land use committee?
not meet, no.
Did not meet? Okay. Exec did meet the day before Rich's meet, and I will say that we did have a pretty lean COG Journal Forum agenda, and I will take credit for that, but I will not take credit for the amount of discussion that went on. Any COG committees? So that would take us to county and liaison reports. What do we have? Do we have anybody here besides Planning Commission? Janet? Park and Rec? Yeah, we can do that now. You can be liaison, you can be other committees, you can be whatever you want.
I'll stick with Park and Rec.
Okay.
At our last meeting, we set our meeting stops for the upcoming annual Parks Tour. We're going to be in the Slab Cabin Overlook area, coming down from Cottonwood as one stop, and then also near Goldfinch for the second stop. By the way, this is on June 9th at 6 o'clock, starting from the parking lot here. The third stop is going to be Fieldstone. And by the way, thank you, council, for your support on that project. And as of recently, thanks to Amy and the crew, the pathway in is done and seeded and complete.
And it's
Until
being
the grass
used.
grows.
It's being used.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I was by yesterday to check for branches down, and the swings were being used. Took a photo, and I already shared it with Amy. We discussed was park naming, and that's a later agenda item for you, and I'll reserve comments until then.
Yeah, but you already did use the name.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Teaser.
All right, thank you, Janet. All right, I don't think we have any other county or liaison reports, so if not, am I missing any?
I don't have a report, I just have a small announcement, a brief
Okay.
announcement. The Alpha is having an open house on Saturday, May 10th, from 11 a.m., I believe, till 3 p.m., and that's at the station downtown, and that is open to the community to learn more about what Alpha does, especially this week. It might be a good time to go down and show support for them as well. And they'll be having bucket rides and different kinds of rides on the apparatus, so feel free to join up down at the open house.
Yeah, thank you. That reminded me, I should have noted that the MPO was notified, and I think all elected officials were notified of the scheduled PennDOT, the second public open meeting to be held 4 o'clock at the Wyndham. This is where they're going to unveil the choice. You know, they previously had narrowed it down to three alternatives for the remaining piece of the State College Area Connector, probably about 8 or 9. I don't know that they'll have a formal presentation. They may. I haven't seen an agenda yet. But there'll be plenty of opportunity to look at sketches and ask questions. All right, that would take us then to staff, PC, other committee reports. Why don't we start off with PC? I think we're owed something from last night, so I'm kind of anxiously waiting.
Yeah, I'm Matt Fenton, I'm the liaison for the PC. We haven't met since the last of your meetings. I did on Tuesday night at 10. Response was you're from college, right? And the power went out. So I don't know what you read into that, but staff was clever enough to get some bicycle lights and put all around illuminating their face. This sort of for you, Adam, our Susquehanna 150th anniversary is coming up. And 150th anniversary is coming up. And if a vacation is off of Harrisburg for the weekend, thank you.
All right. Jeff Foxworthy better watch out.
That's right, that's right.
All right, thanks, Matt. Anything to update us on the 150th?
I can tell you that the timeline committee, hour and a half going through various facts and figures of College Township, and essentially, while all College Township history is important, there's work to be done with a 6 or 7 page list of various events. We're trying to create a short list and a more robust long list as well. So lots of interesting facts. Ron Smith is involved and engaged in that, and Mary Sorensen are just a few of the people that are engaged there on that particular committee. So that continues to move forward. Preparations for the Lindsay is on that particular subcommittee. So Lindsay, if there's anything that you know about that you might want to speak to, that would be great.
Well, we're meeting again at the Marsh on May 8th, just to meet, kind of set the stage for what we're going to do. We have we're looking for yard games, you know, Jenga, cornhole, some things like that we can do in the hour leading up to the dance. Sort of a family-friendly. We're going to decorate handkerchiefs, and you know, you can wear them if you want to, just to kind of dance around. And there's also a list of us folks on the committee who will be there setting up and tearing down. So other than that, it's coming up and it's exciting.
The only other thing that I can report is that Katie and I have basically put most of the finishing, but not all the finishings, on the other event that's going to be part of the 150th, which is a fairly significant expansion of our College Township Night at the Spikes. And we've been working with Scott Walker, the general manager there, to put that package together. And I think it's going to be a lot for our residents and really for all folks in the area. So that's coming up on August 9th. August 9th. That's a Saturday, August 9th. So, and then there are preparations that will need to be made. once we got to get the belt, I think, and then once that kind of comes and goes, there'll be preparations for the event that's going to be held in the Village Green in Lamont, and that is in September.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Any questions for Lindsay or Adam? I have one from a friend. Are dancing skills required to attend the barn? Okay. Was
No,
that-
it's called contra dancing, so when they're yelling out or calling out the dance moves, they're telling you, they're kind of instructing you on what to do. So you don't really have to have any square dancing knowledge, or you can just come and they'll just have fun doing
Eric,
it.
there's a lot of stomping. You'll be fine.
I was asking for a friend. I'll pass that information on. All right. That takes us then to, if that's everything, that takes us to item D, our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging report. Mike, do we have a report?
Yeah, beginning of the month is usually our lengthy report, so a handful of things here to touch base on. I always like to highlight our Heritage and Diversity Months. For May, Asian American South Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Jewish American Heritage, Haitian Heritage Month, Indian Heritage Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, Speech and Hearing Awareness Month, and Military Appreciation Month. In terms of holidays and days of recognition coming up, May 5th is Cinco de Mayo. May 9th is Military Spouse Appreciation Day. International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. And last but certainly not least, May 26th is Memorial Day.
Excellent. This agenda item is also an opportunity for anyone here, public, in attendance, to address council on any diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging issues they may have, including questions, comments. Anyone in the audience here tonight? Anyone online like to participate in this agenda item? Have anything for council? Okay, then if not, that will conclude reports. That will take us to the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of the usual three parts. The first one, CA1, is one set of minutes from the April 17th, 2025 College Township Council regular meeting. The second section of the consent agenda of CA2, correspondence, includes three items. CA2A is an email from Dan Materna dated April 14th, 2025 regarding casino impact study. CA2B is an email from Andrew Schaefer dated April 17th, 2025 regarding casino impact study. And CA2C, an email with article from Dan Materna dated April 24th, 2024 regarding the casino. The third section of the consent agenda includes 4 action items. CA3A, Resolution R-25-012, May 12th through May 16th, 2025 is Mount Nittany Health Week. CA3B, Pavement Markings Bid. CA3C, a request for a fee waiver for an outdoor refuse service. And lastly, CA3D, Resolution R-25-11, PennDOT Agreement for Regional Bike and Pedestrian Path Project. Would anyone like to have any of these items pulled before we consider action to accept the consent agenda as presented?
I'll pull CA3A.
CA3A, the resolution recognizing Mount Nittany Health Week. Any other items? Okay, then the chair will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda less CA3A. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Second. Any discussion needed here? All right, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, let's go to CA3A, Resolution R-25-09, recognizing May 12th through May 16th, 2025 as Mount Nittany Health Week.
Read the resolution into the record.
What we wanted to do here was we wanted to read it, and then we'll have a short, brief presentation, if you'll.
After we approve it.
I'll read it into the record. This is Resolution R-25-09, a resolution of County, Pennsylvania, celebrating Mount Nittany Health Week 2025, thanking the board, the leadership, and the team of Mount Nittany Health for their enduring legacy of service to the community. Whereas the week of May 11th through the 17th, 2025 is recognized as National Hospital Week, a time to celebrate the vital contributions of hospitals, health systems, and healthcare workers to all our communities. Whereas Mount Nittany Health, with its 2,500 employees, including more than 220 providers, has provided more than 120 years of service and outstanding healthcare to our region. And whereas the Mount Nittany Health Team is a trusted partner in bringing compassionate, expert care in serving the healthcare needs of our families, our neighbors, and our friends. Whereas Mount Nittany Health welcomes all patients, visitors, staff, providers, students, and volunteers without exception, embracing the values of teamwork and respect. And be it resolved, the Council of College Township does hereby proclaim May 11th through the 17th, 2025 as Mount Nittany Health Week, and commends the board, the leadership, and the entire Mount Nittany Health team for its record of service to the region. Be it further resolved that an authenticated copy of this resolution, signed by the Township College Chair, be provided to Mount Nittany Health. This resolution duly adopted this first day of May 2025 by College Township Council, Center County, Pennsylvania.
Okay, I understand we have a representative from Mount. If you would join us here at the podium, our Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve CA
Oh, there's
3A.
that part too. All right, all in favor of the resolution as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Resolution adopted. If you could just identify yourself.
Sure, thank you very much. And my name is Kirk Kissinger, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer and System Development Officer at Mount Nittany Health. I'm delighted to be back here again to receive this proclamation on behalf of the employees at Mount Nittany Health. I want to first say how much we as a system value the partnership with College Township. And we share the same commitment, which is commitment to the health and well-being, not just of the residents of College Township, but also across the entire center region. As the proclamation stated, Mount Nittany Health Week is really our version of celebrating National Hospital Week. There are more than 7 million caretakers, that's nurses, doctors, those in patient care who are employed by hospitals nationwide. There are 6,000 hospitals across the country, but less than half of them are community hospitals, independently owned and governed, like Mount Nittany Medical Center and Mount Nittany Health. And so we really do appreciate all the support in the community. And I know earlier it was stated, and I see from the banners, this is the 150th anniversary celebration of the incorporation of College Township. So we've been serving the community for about 30 years, less than that, 120 years. And I think probably similar to College Township, to grow and adapt to the ever-changing needs of the community. And I think that's also manifested in the new patient tower that's being constructed right up here on the hill. That you can see every day when you come to this facility. And so we want to thank you for your support and in this acknowledgement, and look forward to serving the community for another 120 years. Thanks.
Thank you. Susan Trainer, our Vice Chair, would like to present you personally with the, and we're going to, it's a photo op, so come on up.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, with pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah.
But wait.
Thank you. I think the proclamation speaks for itself. I don't know if there's anything else we could add of value beyond that. But I will say that I've been around for half of those 120 years, including getting my broken arm.
So.
Oh boy.
25%, whoa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt.
All right. Now, I don't think we really need to take action to accept that because we adopted it, right?
We did adopt, yeah. I think
So we don't have to add that back in and reaction on that consent agenda?
No, you don't.
All right. Good enough. All right. That concludes the consent agenda. That takes us to old business. Tonight we have 2 items under old business. The first of which is OB1, the Casino Impact Study Proposal. This is a potential action item. But before we consider action, we have a memo in our packet, and I believe staff is prepared to provide a quick overview of the memo, including the recommendation from the RFQ subcommittee. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Who's going to lead us off here, Mike?
I'll lead off here at this point. So tonight's kind of the culmination of a pretty long process that started with the development of the RFQ and walked it through a pretty robust selection process, review of the proposals that were submitted, and led us to tonight and through negotiations with the preferred consultant. So as you recall, back in November of 2024, College Township issued their request for qualification seeking a consultant to perform an independent local impact report for the Nittany Mall Casino. That report is aimed to evaluate potential social, demographic, and economic impacts that the new casino would have on the township and the larger region. It'll also consider the full findings that came from the original impact study, the 2021 study done by eConsult. A couple things that I wanted to highlight in the presentation. As you recall, going back a ways, there was no requirement for College Township to commission a second impact study, but council made on two factors. One, the township's desire to get more information as the host community pertaining to the possible negative and positive impacts of being that host community. And the other was to better inform the public of what the pending casino meant. Remind everybody that the primary audience for this study is council, and it's also staff, current and future. And again, we're looking for it to provide a relevant and accurate assessment of those impacts. One of the things we're also asking of this consultant is to provide us some clear and actionable recommendations that the township could consider as they're going through the development of potential future policies, programs, and projects. And those would ultimately serve to mitigate any negative impacts and maximize any potential benefits. Going back to our meeting on April 3rd, council authorized staff to enter into negotiations with the RFQ Evaluation Committee's preferred consultant, that was Convergence Strategy Group. Tonight, in your packet is included the proposal that is the culmination of those negotiations. It includes an updated scope of the task broken down into really 5 separate and distinct tasks. Task 1, economic and demographic analysis. Task 2, an independent gaming market assessment. A subtask under that is economic impacts. Task 3 is social impact analysis. Task 4 was the social recommendations and a presentation. All total, the consultants are programmed to do 265 hours of work at a number just under 89,000. Just breaking that out in a little bit more detail. Convergence Strategies Group's proposal is consistent with the anticipated tasks that were outlined in the RFQ and met the expectations of the members of the evaluation committee. The proposed project schedule is now 16 weeks. I think at the last meeting I mentioned 14, and that's the result of a little bit of a scope expansion. That said, it does set the study to be completed by or before the end of September 2025, which is well ahead of the casino opening, and also is important for the township in terms of its own planning processes related to budgeting for future years, proceed with work. One of the things that we'll ask of them throughout this process was give us their answer to can they remain impartial in their approach to doing this. Ultimately, you're looking for an unvarnished study that shows negative. We also asked for clarification on any past relationships they had with any of the parties involved with the Nittany Casino. Based on what they provided us as part of their overall proposal, it was the opinion of the RFQ's evaluation subcommittee that Convergence Strategy Group is applied. And
a member of the review selection committee. I just wanted to take a really quick step back. When we first contemplated the undertaking of an additional impact study, Remember, maybe not all of you, but most of you will recall that we actually were thinking about doing this in-house. And over the months that intervened, it became readily apparent that this was clearly as a result of any study, is essentially the data. The data is the data. And I think that while I know that we have a provision as part of the RFQ for the consultant to provide some recommendations, some actionable recommendations, and objectives for council. While that's important, and I think that can be utilized well, to me, the crux of the in that baseline data that can be produced. And as a result of going through the process and having conversations with various providers and reviewing the final proposals that we did receive in response to the RFQ, I'm absolutely satisfied this particular firm is able to deliver on that basis. And for me, delivering on that base data is of utmost importance. That sets our benchmarks going forward, and I think it's something that we can use independent of any other experts, that we can use on our own to make our evaluations and to adjust, as Mike had captured there, our policies, our programs, our procedures. Yeah.
The 3 Ps.
So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Since this is a potential action item, in order to open the floor for public comment, we'll need a motion to take action. However, Dustin, any questions on the memo or anything you've heard from Adam?
No,
so
no,
far?
I just appreciate all the information given, not being on the committee itself or selection committee, and really do see that the work was done and trust you guys' recommendation.
Rich, anything on what you've heard from Adam and Mike?
No, I feel informed through the process as we move forward. We put a lot of effort into the RFQ to try and get the outcomes we're looking for. So when we got that and the committee reviewed it, I trust their judgment on that and looking for the next step.
Okay. Now, Susan and I have obviously been more involved, and do you have any specific questions on what we've heard?
Not
so
any
far?
questions so far.
Okay. I want to thank you for bringing up the baseline data. That was really critical objective early on. It's kind of got lost as we modified other elements of, of the approach. But it is absolutely critical to have that going forward for ever is sitting in this seat and the other seats. So, all right. If there aren't any questions, then at this point the chair will entertain a motion to approve and authorize the manager to execute the proposed service agreement with Convergent Strategy to complete the Category 4 before we take a vote. Just raise your digital hand and we'll get to you. And if you can't figure out where that is, just give us a holler when we're done here. All right, in the room? Anybody to address council before we take action? No? All right, anybody online? No? If you want to raise your hand, just
Seeing none.
okay. Anybody have any comments they would like to add before I call for the vote? I don't necessarily have any. I mean, Mike covered everything.
As a member of the committee, I do have comments, and I do want to wanted to talk about the importance of the social impact piece of the study. We had specifically asked to look at something that most municipalities don't ask for once a casino is determined to be coming to the community. And this is important because there are, and we recognize that. And in order to understand that better, we do need the baseline data, and we do need to get to something that many communities may not have asked for in the past. And we've talked about this before, and certainly as a healthcare provider, I want to have I want to have an at hand when I'm making a diagnosis and looking at something that may be problematic. And I see this study as an opportunity to do something that is not typically done. And so I've been glad to be part of the process in making the decision to do and work with Convergence. And they have been very receptive to our request to modify the proposal as we've moved forward and we've learned more about what we need to do.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. Since we went down that road, I should offer, as also being on the subcommittee, that I really appreciated what Susan brought to the subcommittee. Obviously, her background was critical as we moved through this. So much so, conference call. We actually, I guess at my insistence, expanded the scope. We scope crept a little bit in order to add some more hours to the social impact and socio-demographic impact, because honestly, that was really what was driving a lot of this, because that was the feedback we were getting from the community. And to staff's credit and council's credit, I want to give credit where it's due. We listened, we engaged, and we incorporated those requests and comments into this. So between the comments we got, Susan's passion and expertise in that area, I think we were able to craft something that hopefully will give us the data that Adam was referring to, allow us to move forward. So, anything else before the question? Nothing? Okay. All in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Manager is now authorized to move forward with the proposed agreement. That concludes our first old business item, and that takes us to our second old business item, OV2, the 2025 PSATS resolutions and again, another action item. But before I consider a motion, we do have maybe, a brief update on the changes from the last meeting?
Sure. At the last meeting, we did review this list. What's before you tonight, just to recap it quickly, the various resolutions that are proposed to be voted on by the general body of the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors at their upcoming training and annual conference session, which actually occurs the beginning of next week, essentially sets the agenda for the PSATS organization overall. And these resolutions are generated from county associations as well as the various standing committees that reside at PSATS. And this year, there's not quite as many resolutions as we typically deal with. I'll take a little extra time from first reviewing these at our last meeting to go back through and make sure that we understood them and to address any issues or concerns. I was asked to review those and to bring anything of concern or importance to your attention. There was nothing in my review of the balance of the resolutions that we had not talked about at our last meeting that I feel is really important to bring forward to council or draw attention to this evening. That's not to say that these resolutions aren't in and of themselves important, but there was nothing that the recommendations from the resolutions committee seemed to be very much in concert with the positions that council has taken on these items over time. So there was nothing out of the ordinary that I saw to bring to council's attention this evening.
Susan, you are a voting delegate. Anything?
I had only one question on Resolution 25-09, that PSATs seek legislation to create a solar impact fee for municipalities that host commercial solar facilities. I wasn't sure what that fee means, where that comes from, and who it's being paid to or who it's being paid from.
Hopefully we'll hear a little bit more
Okay.
about that during the voting session.
Yeah.
But I can surmise, and that has to do with the fact that while these solar complexes, these solar arrays, take up a significant amount of real estate in acreage in some cases. Those are not treated as taxable improvements. And as a result, a municipality could be the host to an exceptionally large array. And that, given the amount of property that might be involved in one of these things, whereas they might otherwise anticipate generating some property tax revenue as a result of having a large-scale operation in that area, that is not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily what happens. And so I'm surmising here that the fee that is being identified is intended to help to offset some of that lost opportunity cost for the municipality because of potentially lost revenue.
And that would probably be paid by the developer of the solar.
I would assume, but that would seem to make sense.
And that, I just wanted to get a hand, since I didn't understand that, I just wanted to get feedback from council, since I'll be voting for council.
Yeah.
But it sounds like,
Yeah, I had the same assumption. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as far as feedback and whether,
I mean, we're supporting that, so.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
agreed. Do we want to get into it again?
Say as an MPO rep that the $5 impact fee that was instituted on car registrations has actually been turned around and used to leverage millions of dollars in bridge repairs that we would, that although very unpopular at first, you can't argue with.
You're not paying attention if you do.
Yeah, good point. All right, then we'll need a motion here if anyone.
Could I confirm, from our last meeting, we had a robust, and that would be 2513.
Well, I certainly think so.
Yeah, well, I think we need to.
This is the resolution that came out of the Secretary Manager Committee, and it reads, the PSAT seek legislation to amend the Consolidated County Assessment Law to require every county to conduct a reassessment every year. Felt that this was not a township issue and did not want to place an unfunded mandate on another local government. I'm sorry, I chuckle every time I read that.
You have to, yeah, because it ultimately does, and on it will just keep jacking up the mills and everything. So, I mean, I have an issue with it.
Yeah, so, yeah, as far as against the opposition, right?
Yes, I don't share that view.
I don't. I know I wasn't here last time, but I did agree on that discussion.
Well, that makes it simpler, if I understand correctly.
We oppose the opposition.
Why do they add the
Supportive, not supporting.
yeah?
The language is,
Why do they do that? I mean, maybe I'll ask after.
Oh, you mean why does the Resolutions Committee?
Yeah, why do they put their support or opposition to it? Because everybody votes on it anyhow.
Well, the way that the bylaws are structured,
Yeah.
these recommended resolutions need to be reviewed, and they're reviewed by that Resolutions Committee, and that Resolutions Committee opinion on those they're really kind of the gatekeeper in
Yeah.
terms
But
of.
they still all go to the vote.
They still all go to the vote.
Yeah.
And we have seen circumstances where the Resolutions Committee for PSATs has been outvoted, either whether it's support or opposition of their original position that they've taken. So the membership has the ability to make its will known.
Yeah.
position. I will not support the not support.
That's right. It remains to be seen whether or not members of the Secretary Manager Committee will actually raise to this and actually work to try to introduce it back to the floor.
So I will support the floor challenge by opposing the opposition.
Oh. It's always interesting seeing the process they use each year, but, I mean, it could be we could support it. The vote from the floor is we support it. But I doubt it.
Yeah.
All right, do we need action on this? Is that what
Unless Susan feels that she needs some kind of formal action, I wouldn't necessarily recommend action. Our votes are going to be amongst the 2,400 other votes that are going to be cast. I don't feel that we have to stake out a specific position.
Okay, that's great, because that would then conclude old business and take us to our only new business tonight,
The one that has summary
if I'm correct.
in the title.
Wow, we moved so fast that we caught Lindsay off guard.
Yeah. Well, she's gonna put up the map just to
Okay.
help
I'll
visualize.
talk slowly. This is item number NB1, Overlook renaming. We may have got a little bit of a tease earlier tonight, but now's the formal presentation, right?
Right. So nearly 4 years ago, through the Aspen Heights development process, the township was conveyed 4.59 acres of quote-unquote parkland, and really haven't done much with it since then, and we really kind of thought it needed to have a name. So Parks and Rec earlier in the year tackled this and came up with a thought. And while I was trying to put something together for council, I started to do, the picture was a little bigger than I thought it was, because I was not here for the previous iterations of my wonderfully rudimentary colored with highlighters map. But it does paint the picture. And I'll real quickly just show you what, mostly for everybody else's sake, that the township has in its possession claim to the purple or the blue and the little purple hatching, and there's a reason why they are separated. The yellow is an actual meet and bounds easement along the stream, that being Slab Cabin. The orange, Mitchell Days, it has since been sold, so I don't know that we will get the green anytime soon. That way it kind of keeps it together, in hopes that if we ever are able to get the green position or the green highlighted area, we would have one full complete park named the same. And I also, just so everybody knows, I put the proximity to Shamrock Park or obvious or a dedicated link, but it is relatively close if you wanted to see. That being said, that's my presentation. We're hoping you concur that Parks and Rec's recommendation to name the newly no-name park, Slab Cabin.
All right, questions for Amy, or additional comment from staff? No?
I mean, if you needed history, we could get into it, but I don't know that anybody needs that.
I gotta fill this coffee cup up.
While the council is formulating their thoughts, I will touch on the history and tell you that you can be quite happy that you were not here 4 years ago when we went through the discussion and debate over the dedication of that parkland as part of the...
I was here for that. I wasn't here for the rest of it. I did not understand how the whole thing put together with the yellow and the blue. That escaped me.
I was only pointing out... Susan?
I have one question. The orange easement, this really doesn't, just for gratification, is that open the whole way down through? Okay, so if I wanted to park to access that new parkland, that's the best place to park probably? You could always park at Slab Cabin and walk up, but.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes, to that side of it
Yeah.
as well. Obviously, there's no physical jumping, other than jumping across the
Yeah.
stream.
Well, but
You could jump.
But there isn't really a parking area.
No,
It'd be an on-street issue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
at
the
the end of
contemporary
Cottonwood.
cul-de-sac
You're
is
right.
there,
There is no
and-
parking area because it's out at the other end.
Right,
Yeah.
at the end of.
Okay, if there aren't any further questions, the chair will entertain a motion that signifies that we concur with the recommendation of Park and Rec to name the new park Slab Cabin Overlook. Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any comment? Janet?
This took a lot shorter time period than our 2 meetings and all the hours that Amy put into putting that together. One of those hours was spent with me. So you're to be commended for your understanding of this issue. And
It's
then-
not often that we're the short piece of the puzzle.
I didn't say that. And continue my earlier discussion, to the overlook. is to come down from Cottonwood where they will park and not have to put on our waders to cross the stream and climb up the hill to get to the new parkland. And so that's why the second stop on is going to be parking off of Goldfinch and walking over to the bike path and looking at the new parkland area. And while we're there, Amy has consented to bring along tools to look at possible future location of amenities. Possible amenities, but not limited to benches, bike racks, garbage cans, fencing or some sort of barrier on the hill. Who knows? We'll look at the site when we're there with Amy's help.
Hey, Janet, since you brought that up, who maintains those benches that are currently along the town?
They would be ours.
Okay, the township? And I think one trash can, 2 benches.
Yes, yeah.
Because they're actually in the park, right? Yeah.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
we have, I do believe we have some, like, we have a trash can right outside here off of the Pike Path, where the picnic table, yeah, those types of things.
All
There's
right,
also some mutt mitt
Yeah.
types of things as well.
Yeah, for the dog.
At various intervals along the bike path.
Right.
Those are ours.
Those are ours, yes.
Questions, comments for Janet while she has the floor?
Considered up
That's
at,
right. You had the
Creek
easement, you could
Canyon,
go up
there's a
from
trail
Cottonwood
down.
down over to the other side.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, thank you, Janet. We have a motion on the floor. There isn't any questions. Chair will call the question. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Is our renaming effective immediately?
5 days.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
a joke. Staff needs to inform us further on S1, or if not, questions from council on S1.
We have, staff has no additional.
Anything from council here? All right, then we'll move on to other council staff and other matters.
I have 2.
Adam?
Yes. At our last meeting, we had received correspondence from the Fourth Fest Committee and identify our expenditures in support of that function, that festival, over the last several years. And I'm reporting on that tonight. In 2023, council had appropriated $2,500 as funds to the Fourth Fest. In 2024, that number was $3,000. The 2025 budget has a similar allocation of $3,000 in the budget. I was also asked to fireworks display, which is what we have always typically. There's 5 different levels of sponsorship there. The very top, the star of the show package, is a $15,000 sponsorship level. There's the next one down is America the Beautiful at $10,000. The third one is your grand old flag at $5,000. The Stars and Stripes Forever package is a $7,500 level, and I think I have those out of order, so that's my fault. And then the Anchors Away at $2,500. Each of those packages comes with various VIP viewing tickets and things like that. Typically, what the township has always done with those is we've made any viewing passes and any parking passes that we receive as a result of the sponsorship available to our employees first, and then members of council thereafter. And that has been relatively successful over the years. Some years are better than others because people watch the weather and those kinds of things. But that basically is the main show sponsorships. They also, for this year, they've broken down some of the other packages. There are sponsorships for the community square, for the Firecracker 4K, for the car show, and also for the parade. And those range from a low of $500 and the universe of choices that council may have relative to any contribution toward the Fourth Fest.
Okay, so some direction tonight would probably be helpful. Anyone have any thoughts, suggestions?
You said the budget was 3,000, right?
That's what we have in the budget this year.
So then the 2,500 and then 500 towards something else that's on there?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my thoughts, I don't know.
Others? Rich, Susan?
I think this is a great year to up our game,
Okay.
that 150, you know, so.
If, is that it? Because I would tend to agree with Rich if there was a year to do that. We're kind of in between the two sponsorship levels, given where we're at with our celebration. But more importantly, if staff and employees use them and find value in them, I'm certainly open to spend. You know, we're kind of in between the two right now. We could we could take that extra 500, put it towards the next level. We wouldn't, would it be 5,500 or would it could just?
If we're looking at sponsoring the actual main event, which I think is what council is typically, or not, which is what you have typically done in the past. We're presently at 3,000 and we're between the 2,500 level sponsorship and the $5,000 sponsorship level at $3,000. This is the first year that we've had any option. We could stay at 2,500 and then apply another 500 to one of the other sponsorship opportunities. It's the first time that has been made available to us.
Well, there appears to be support for at least continuing, and we've heard suggestions maybe if there's value to the staff and employees, supporting that, particularly this year. We've had a good year. Any objection to that?
No, and I'd also throw that those folks have been negotiation to, you know, find the best value for the dollars. So if there's and don't get stuck on what's on that piece of paper if you think there's something that would benefit the staff or the community better.
So we're empowering the manager to negotiate the best deal he can on behalf of his staff and employees. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to clarify, I mean, were you also suggesting an option to increase the budget amount, though? Which would take action from us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's in your discretionary, but yeah, we would
Yeah.
probably support it, need to support
I
it.
would definitely support up to the next level, you know, that
Okay.
5,000, yeah, if that's what we want to gauge.
If we can find something attractive that suits our needs in between, it sounds like you've got the
Is that
support
a not to exceed? Is that what we're kind of saying?
Yeah, sure.
without a forum.
I was just going to say, now there it is, not to exceed. Not to exceed.
Are you sure you have enough in there?
Yeah, we're good.
Do we want to do it as a percentage?
Oh, that was bad, sorry.
Okay, I have not to exceed 5,000 and see what we can come up with.
Yeah. I see
Fortunately,
it's
I know
not-
the president this year, or the chair this year, so I can have a conversation with that individual.
And you said you had a second item?
Yeah, the second item was simply the reminder about PSATs getting underway this Sunday. I know that Susan is going to be down a day early, actually, to attend a
TEMA training.
TEMA training. Yes, that's right, emergency.
Emergency.
We'll get a little head start on us. But unfortunately, this year, we're not all in the same place. 4 members of council are at the lodge, and then the balance of us are kind of split between 2 other places. That said, one of the things, I know that we already have worked out some arrangements. There is the grassroots function, I believe, is is Monday night, which is the opportunity at the lodge to actually meet and have with our state elected officials. So that is an opportunity on Monday night. and we'll coordinate various transportation, because some of us will either need to find our way to the lodge or take the bus transportation that is available as well. So I would encourage each of you to share yourselves amongst each other so that you can stay in contact, and we'll coordinate from there.
In the past, that grassroots had required an RSVP and then they had a cutoff. Or-
Yeah, I don't think they do that anymore.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not sure.
I looked to see about registering. I couldn't find anything.
That's good.
Pam Robb had emailed me and said we should register. So I'm
They
just
had
not
done
sure.
that, especially whenever, they actually used to go to the Capitol. And buses would go to the Capitol. And they did require kind of advanced registration for that.
Maintenance and repair and replacement going on. And I know we were talking about just what went on the storm damage, you know, on top of that storm damage, I've just been approached by several residents who are very appreciative of the work that's already been done this spring to remove and in some cases even replace and I know that they're doing this in between other things. I know they've got plenty on their plate right now, but it's been very refreshing, and people have noticed that we've taken the time to get out there and address things that don't appear to be a high priority here within the township, but they are with the residents, you know, because they have to look at them or deal with them every day. So,
Quality of life.
what's that?
Quality of life.
Yeah. So yeah, on behalf of everyone who's approached me, thank you.
I'll pass that along.
Job well done there. Anybody else? Okay, then I guess we're at that point where the chair entertains a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And I think I heard a second from the right.
Okay.
Okay, we're adjourned.